with the breakdown of Canella the camper van on my trip that got cut short. I was originally headed to Bend, Oregon, and I only made it as far as Amarillo, Texas. I ended up taking the van over to a shop that I use in Santa Fe, Texas. They're going over it with a fine-tooth comb. In the meantime, I've got to get some material out for you. The van was, it was my platform for the material I was doing, so I'm having to dig back into the Wayback Machine here. Now, this video that you're about to see, it's a long one, so, get some popcorn, some snacks, get a drink, and settle in. This is a good one, though. This is a tour of the USS Texas before I got pulled out to the dry dock to be restored. This video was shot in 2016, and this video features my late wife, Debbie. She didn't want to be on screen, but for some reason, when we would go out and shoot videos, she couldn't stay out from in front of the camera. She just kept walking ahead of me, coming up and talking to me while I'm trying to video things. And that's fine, no issue there, other than she said she didn't want to be on screen. Well, she made that choice. Now that she's passed, and it's been several years, I have decided I want to share this material. Not to dishonor what she wanted, but to honor her memory, to honor the things we've done together, and to share a day in the life, as it were, with you guys, particularly with other friends and family who haven't seen any of the video of her since she passed on. I wanted to share this with you guys. So I hope you enjoy it. Settle in, enjoy. It's a great video. It's really good. It was a good tour, and we actually kind of just winged it. And this video though does run about an hour and a half or so in length. So settle in and enjoy it. I thank you very much for watching, and we'll talk to you at the end of the video.
Living in a van down by the river, singing loud. No ties, no change, just the rolling clouds. Freedom tastes real sweet when you're nothing to give. Living in a van down by the river's where I live, where I live.
All right, we are out of the car, and Debbie's way up there. There it is, Battleship Texas.
The deck boards are a little wiggly here, guys. It's a 102-year-old battleship. And the bilge pumps still work. That's impressive. The boards on the dock, I think, are substantially newer. Watch mugs. This mug is a replica of the mugs used aboard Texas during World War II. Common sight in galleys and field kitchens, this durable mug was prized for keeping cold hands warm during a long watch. That's a nice big mug with the price tag to match. Beds. Lighters.
Thank you very much.
Here we go. Yep. Just be glad it's not being aimed at us. Okay. You're too hot.
Yeah,
I got you.
fun. Like, I saw a couple walking out. That's when we should have been walking out.
Wookie.
Well, you didn't know. We thought we were going to do monument today.
Yep. Which was indoor for the most part. That was the plan.
Are you in?
Okay, here we are.
You got on here for free?
Yeah, because of our Texas State Parks Pass.
Oh, cool. Say it again.
Welcome aboard Battleship Texas. You can explore Texas narrow and maze-like passages, learn about the ship's place in history, explore the lives of the men who served aboard her, and even experience life aboard the Texas for yourself.
She was for the ship, the smartest man afloat and the best. A hard, tough, salty shooting, steaming fool. A trophy grabber, a fighter, and a He-Man battle wagon. Lieutenant Paul Sherbert, USS Texas, 1919.
And here comes another photo bomb.
So
Battleship Texas deck map. To make the most of your visit, be sure to explore Texas above and below deck. Experience all she has to offer.
So we are
You have
here.
a main deck, second deck, third deck,
We are the main deck.
foremast, and then we are here. Many of the 3-inch and 40mm guns can be trained
And rotated.
and rotated. Try handling these guns and imagine what
World War II battles.
World
were
War II battles were like.
like. Explore the exterior of the turret number 1 and see where 2 of the ship's 14-inch guns were loaded. You can enter a ladder at the rear. Visit the air
Air castle.
castle where you'll find a theater, exhibits, and her 5-inch guns. Stroll down Texas Main Street and visit
That's the second deck.
post office at Barber.
Come on, let's go on the other side.
The Marine Space House Texas Marine Detachment.
Stop by the officers' country, home to Texas officers. That's the second deck.
And
Third
then
deck's
the engine room.
engine spaces and see up close. Watch a video of the theater.
On this side?
Right here. Gas steam engine driven battleship. 4-cylinder triple expansion steam engines. Largest afloat, 27,000 HP at
Newport News Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Company, U.S. Navy Bureau of Ships, American Society of Mechanical Engineers, 1975.
Battleship Texas has been designated a National Historic Landmark. This site possesses national
Significance,
and
commemorating the history of the United States of America, 1977, National Park Service, United States Department of the Interior.
So 1977 it became a land historic.
Okay. Wow. This is a lot more complete than Kavala.
Yes. This is what? Wow, man, look at
Tell you what, the deck sure could use to be refurbished though.
this. Put your
Feet there, yep. Here.
You can photograph me if you want from the deck. It's scaring me.
See, that rotates it.
Here, I did bring my camera.
Now what does the... So that crank rotates it. Hang on. I bet you. Hang on. There you go. Oh, that's freaking awesome.
That's too cool. You can do this. Rotate the gun and the other person.
So the guy on the right rotates it, the guy on the left changes the elevation.
That's too cool.
And inevitably there was some poor sucker behind the both of them that had to keep loading this thing. Man, that's crazy stuff. I love the fact that this thing still, that the mechanics still work though.
So they do this.
Yep.
I don't know. It says keep off though.
Yep.
I don't want to go any further out that way because maybe we
Yeah.
fall into the water.
The water's kind of vile.
They said it's deep too.
Yeah, wait a minute. That's pretty cool.
40mm mulchers. Made up of the second and most effective line of anti-craft defense. Each of the 10 guns mounted required at least 12 crew members to operate. As Texas added these guns, other weapons in the early 1940s, the crew quickly grew to nearly 1,800 men. Look at those people. Now they're
Yep.
all surrounded in that one little area.
Yep. Well,
Proved to be the extremely effective against kamikaze attacks during World War II. So these were the guns that did it.
And there's the, that's where the shells were held.
Holy crap.
These were some skinny little dudes. Keep going, keep going.
Okay.
Nowhere for me to turn around, so. These pipes here, I think would be gas vents from the cannon.
See if I can operate something. Ah, my phone fell.
Well, I don't think they had that problem in World War II. Did you get it?
Yeah. Yeah. For right now.
Yep. Oh, wow. And those seats are tractor seats. Yep, elevation. Wow. Yep, and that would be, rotation would be this one here. See? It's amazing how easy this thing actually turns for how heavy it is. And like I said, the seats are simply, well, repurposed civilian tractor seats from the same era. Oop. That looks like it could possibly be the galley.
That looks like fun.
Yeah, now.
This is the galley?
Yep.
Oh, it sure is.
We need to cook too. We got some potatoes too. We got some potatoes to cook.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Fun. I'll do it. Oh my gosh, all they did is probably just throw it in these big old vats.
Now, the
Look at that.
They said in wintertime they took pans in these things and warm
Yep.
water.
Well, yeah, the only place that they could,
They cleaned them. They had to clean them and everything. So
yep.
They said they took baths in them too.
baths in them, I believe it.
Yeah.
These big old cans, I could see that.
Yeah.
They took baths in these
They had
cans.
to clean. They had to clean them so they said, well,
Yep. Well, do what you
you
can.
gotta clean them scrub and everything. So they said sometimes it's nice and warm with the water. Hey,
Yeah, I bet.
they were in there, so he said, well.
You gotta make do.
There was soap too, so they were cleaning them. So they said, well, I guess it's like taking a bath when they clean them with soap.
Yeah,
and
yeah, there you
everything.
go. Take a
Yeah,
bath and then
yeah.
clean them out
Yep.
at the same time.
Yeah, they had soap and everything.
Oh shoot, that's too cool.
You know, the funny thing is, there's not a lot of the men that man these things left.
Yeah.
Noe, come here, baby.
Which one is this?
I don't know what that is.
Not on tour route. Yeah, a modern DeWalt miter saw probably wasn't around in World War II. Hang on, I gotta let the camera adjust. Oh, it's nice and cool in here. A little short on the headroom, but diplomatic mission. In the years after World War I, the United States continued to expand its role. And here come foreign tourists.
Did you have my phone?
It's in my pocket.
Oh, back in the car maybe?
No, right there.
Okay. Here, put those two in there too. That way they're all together. Okay.
Okay.
Definitely bring your own water.
Okay, let's try that again.
Take pictures.
A diplomatic mission. In the years after World War I, the United States continued to expand its role in international affairs through diplomacy. I don't think the modern water fountain was there originally either, nor was the eyewash station.
And several inches of increased armor are added along the second and third decks to protect from fire plunging downward. and other warships soon find themselves escorting convoys heading across the Atlantic.
In June of 1941, she was actually stalked by a German U-boat, and the U-boat commander had it set up.
America's debut during the 1910s, Battleship Texas witnessed firsthand some of the United States' early moves towards greater prominence in the international arena.
We were a frank bunch of young men. I was 18 at that time, and most of my Marines, some of them had been a little low, most of them were just young recruits. This was our first assignment as far as combat, and we were frightened.
The aging Texas would provide naval gunfire support for Operation Neptune, the naval element of Operation Overlord, the Allied invasion of France.
I had never been around guns to speak of, other than the Marine Corps.
To provide the French history's bloodiest invasions, the crew stands against suicidal enemies in war and rescues their ship from the scrapyards in peacetime. Heroes aboard a ship that would help win two great wars. USS Texas, America's World War warrior.
Okay. Rear Admiral Carlton F. Bryant left, and Captain Charles A. Baker, commanding officer of Texas, posed with the unexploded German 240 millimeter shell that hit the ship on June 25, 1944, during the gunnery duel with Battery Hamburg, east of Cherbourg, France. And if we pull back,
240 millimeter shell, 9 inches in diameter.
I believe that's the shell. Should have backed up a little more.
Splashes all around us.
And
I know I'm scared.
Battleship Texas Foundation. If you look in this rightmost column, you can see Mr. and Mrs. James A. Baker. Don't know if there's a relation there, but it'd be interesting to find out. Oh yeah. Two historic photographs of this knot board from 1933 to 1937, scrapbook assembled by crew member Alan Inglis and recently donated to the museum collection. Inglis captioned the top photo a close-up view of a knot board made in a carpenter shop of USS Texas, Fort Texas Centennial. The side carries all knots used in seamanship, and the bottom photo, this side carries all of the ratting badges used in the U.S. Navy. Inglis captions explain the previously unknown origins of this board, and the photos will help in its possible restoration. The reverse of the knot board no longer displays the rating badges. Not ratting, rating. Gotcha. Okay. I don't know if that's going to come out because how dark it is in here, but that's the Admiral's Pantry. Well, I can't go in.
The Admiral's cabin. This space called the Admiral's Pantry is where the meals for the Admiral's cabin were made ready to serve. Because the Admiral traveled from ship to ship, he had a personal steward who would travel with him. The admiral steward picked the most skilled steward mates from the ship to help serve the admiral and his guests. The admiral ate a special china decorated with his flag. Can you tell the admiral's rank by the dishes on the counter?
Since I'm not that familiar with the insignia of the
They have blue
flag
with the
ranks.
white anchor, red with the white anchor.
It's blue with a white anchor.
It is. I can't read that, but that's what that is. Maybe you can take a look.
Sorry about the bumping. Secretary of the Navy. The blue with the white anchor represented the Secretary of the Navy. Wow.
Should do.
So, I don't know if this will come out, but Secretary of the Navy, Undersecretary, well, that flag is a banner.
It's a banner.
It's a banner, and that's a
Banner with 2 stars.
with 2 stars.
Yeah.
That's a Rear Admiral.
Rear Admiral is what was here, so, or what was being served at the moment.
Yep. Okay.
Main deck.
Yep. Cancel access. Interesting. Kind of doubt these are going to come out, but well, the camera needs light to work. There's not a lot of it to work with here. That's a big gun.
Here's the mop for the mop for those.
Yeah.
What? What is it called?
Actually, I can almost guarantee you that is not original. Squab.
Swab the deck. See?
Well, let's see. Low ceiling. Yeah, no joke. Ah, well, looky there. Interesting. That looks like a winch drum of some kind. Here's your chain pull. Yep.
We have our selfie stick. You want to take a picture of us?
We don't have it.
Not today?
No. Let's see if I can. Let's see if that'll.
I can see us both in there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're in there.
You can just cut us from here up. I can see it.
That's what I'm planning on doing. what I was thinking, but you keep missing the stairs.
Listen, we're about to give a free guided tour. You're welcome to join if you like, or of course you can wander about the ship at your leisure. But we give the fun facts, not a history lesson. So if you're interested, meet me at the gangway in about 5 minutes.
Okay. We can do that. Ding, ding it. This is the gangway, yes.
That's 97.1.
Oh,
Nobody?
97.1 the legends?
I'm losing money. Normally we throw people overboard and haven't listened to legends. I can't throw them all overboard. All right. Well,
No, you asked, excuse me, you asked what the difference was?
Yeah.
He's an amateur liar, I'm a professional.
Okay.
All right, y'all follow us.
Ready, Dave?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, battery shot.
Oh, okay. Here.
And the other spares are in the car.
All right. Don't worry about it. Here. Come on,
Here we go.
Mothers carrying babies get to sit down, okay? Yeah. Otherwise you get wore out halfway through the story. Now listen, you can't take my picture until you tell me to suck in, okay? Go ahead!
I figured,
Dan, your turn, sir.
All right. Well, you know, guys and guns, we love our guns, right? Come on. Show of hands of guys who really, you know, those are guns. This right here, this turret, this side plate on this turret is 12 inches thick. The face plate, where the barrels come out, is 14 inches thick. Now this is engineering from 1910 to 1914. Some things you can't improve on. When they took this ship in 1925 to convert it to oil burning, and they redid the entire deck, original burning. Now, these are 14-inch guns, which means the shell is 14 inches in diameter. Those are the shells right there, stacked over there, that these guns shoot. Each one of those weighs about as much as a present-day Volkswagen Beetle. Now, these barrels can only raise 14 degrees, because again, remember, the ship was commissioned in 1914. We didn't have radar. We didn't have reconnaissance aircraft. This is old world armament. Just the same, you could launch those shells all the way to the horizon, roughly 13 miles. Yeah. Now, it took 75 men to actually man one turret. We're going to explain that in a little more detail later on. But this was by no means an automatic system. There was a lot of manual labor involved. But that's one thing you have on a ship, a lot of manual labor. Because you don't have to go negotiate with them. You're in the military. You just don't, your job is, that's it. Now, given all of the armament from this point up, that's heavy enough, but this device here is called a barbette. And this goes down about 4 or 5 decks below the surface of the ship. And this is where they load in the shells and the powder charges and what have you. And all of this is armored as well. So one of these turrets, mind you, we have 5 of them on board, but just this one turret alone weighs as much as that orange ship that you see docked down there. Now I'll give that ship the benefit of the doubt and say that it's empty. But this one turret weighs as much as that whole ship. And we have 5 of them. And you notice they're in different levels, too. Some of these turrets are larger than others. But if you don't feel reasonably safe on a ship armed like this one, there's no saving it. Let's go a little further down. Do I have a couple of volunteers for something? Cool. I see some kids.
Uh-oh.
I see some kids. Your kids? Yeah. Well, there's a difference between growing kids. There you go.
I swapped enough decks.
I wasn't in the military. I was in the Air Force.
The Chair Force? Yeah. Yeah, honey.
How would you like to sit up here? Come on up. You have just been drafted into the United States Navy. Come on up here. Yeah, you got that? Okay, good. He's got it. He's a real horse climber. And you, G, are already in place. All right, now I want you to get a little feel for how this gun works. You're in charge of left to right. So just crank that thing a little bit and get a bit feel for it. See? Good. And you're in charge of up and down. All right? Because here's the deal. We have enemy aircraft coming in from over here. And they're going to attack the ship. I need your help. Get this gun swung around, get the barrel down, let's start shooting at these planes. Let's go, 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 go.
He needs to go the other direction.
This is not quite fast enough. We're sinking.
I think he's trying to bomb downtown.
Give it up for the kids here. Come on. I noticed none of you had the courage to get up here. Come on, buddy. We're going to get you down here. You did a good job. Yeah. So the whole idea of warfare on board this ship back in the day, even during World War II, you don't see any laser guidance systems. You don't see any fancy lenses. This is your sight. The whole idea was to throw as much sky at these enemy aircraft as you could throw. Just keep the sky black with ammunition. Well, you know that worked two ways.
What goes up has to come down.
You had a pretty good chance of hitting the aircraft. But the aircraft, in their attempt to dodge what you were throwing at them, had just as much chance of hitting what was up there. Either way, a kill is a kill.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Follow that man. Okay, it's now 1925. The battleship Texas has to come into the dry dock. She's getting old and she no longer can compete with modern naval warfare. So they did several things when they brought her to dry dock. Number one, they changed her from coal burning to oil burning, which was a big deal because oil permitted her to go a whole lot further. But they now had to contend with enemy aircraft, so that's when they added all the anti-aircraft weaponry, you see. They also now had to contend with enemy submarines. So they built one called torpedo blisters. Here's your original hull. 3 feet away, they built another steel hull. And the principle was that a torpedo would hit this hull, would explode, but never damage your original bulkhead. They're called torpedo blisters. Went all down the starboard side and went all down the port side. But this is when they found out of this huge problem that Dan told you about. And that problem is these big old 14-inch guns can only elevate 14 degrees in the air, as high as they can go. Why? Because in 1914, it allowed them to shoot a shell about the same weight as a Volkswagen, 13 miles in the air, which is about where the horizon is. There was no point in shooting over the horizon because you couldn't see over the horizon, nor in their wildest imagination did ever think that man would have that ability. Well, now it's 1925. We got enemy shore places that can shoot 25 miles. So the captain says, wait a minute, I ain't getting any closer until I know what's over the horizon. How's he going to do that? Any ideas?
Radar.
Well, the battleship Texas was the very, very first United States naval vessel to have radar. Unfortunately, the radar was so rudimentary at that time, it was pretty much just line of sight, so that didn't help them see over the horizon. Airplanes will do that for you, won't they?
Yep.
But how do you put an airplane on a battleship? Here's what they did. On top of turret number 3 here, they built a platform. And on that platform, they mounted an aircraft. Now, to launch the airplane, here's what they had to do. The captain had to get the ship going just as fast forward he could, about 25 miles an hour. The pilot would get in the plane, they would turn the turret in the wind, the pilot would get that prop going just as fast as he get it going. They would wait for the ship to list or lean so the nose of the aircraft was pointed towards the sky. Then a black powder charge would explode and launch the plane into the air sometimes. If he made it, he could radio back and say, hold it, Captain, we got an enemy shore replacement. Oh, what good did it do us? I done told you couldn't shoot with 13 miles, didn't I? Oh, that didn't stop Captain Baker. If Captain Baker wouldn't shoot over the horizon on the starboard side, he flooded his torpedo blister on the port side and made the ship blister lean like this, made the barrels go higher. So now he's got the ability to shoot over the horizon, but he can't see what he's shooting at, but his pilot can.
This pilot says, "Sir, please adjust your fire. 300 yards east, 200 yards south." And the pilot would watch the explosion until he finally walked them in and destroyed the enemy emplacement. Isn't that clever?
Too hard to believe though. How did they get the plane back on?
What a great question! If I was a pilot, this is something I'd want to know. How did I get back? Well, they can't land because the enemy's there, right? Well, the plane was pontoon shaped so it could land in the water. But here's the problem. If I stop this ship dead in the water to pick up an airplane, somebody's going to sink me. So what they did is the plane would land at the stern of the ship where the water's the smoothest. Then the plane would taxi up along the side, and they threw out a net called a sea sled. It was a rope woven device like this with flotation buoys all around it. So the pilot would taxi over the top of the net, cut its engines, cause the plane to sink just a little bit. On the bottom of the pontoon was, you can't see, can you? I see her walking around me like this. So there's a little hook at the bottom of the pontoon that would snare itself into the net. So now I got the battleship going this way, the battleship is pulling the net, and now the net is pulling the airplane. So my airplane's going the same speed as my battleship, but the propeller's not turning. Then I can take my cargo plane, reach out, pick up the aircraft, put it back on top of the turret, ready to launch again, and never slow this vessel down. Isn't that amazing?
But that's lots of work.
Sir?
That's lots of work. And they must have lost a few planes also in the trials and errors.
Well, if a plane went down and didn't get up in the air, one of the smaller vessels would secure the aircraft and the pilots. Okay. But I've got another story now. A lot of you may have never heard this name, but I'll try to tell it anyhow. After the invasion of North Africa, the fleet's coming into London. Now the captain knows a couple things. He knows, number one, whatever plane gets into port, whatever ship gets into port first, gets all the fame, publicity, and notoriety for the North African campaign. He also knows that as soon as a fleet passes over into British territorial waters, it's going to be a foot race he can't possibly win because it's got an older ship. But he had a secret weapon on board. He had a very, very young reporter named Walter Cronkite. He stuck Walter in the co-pilot seat and launched when Walter flew into London, landed, filed the story. The battleship Texas got all the fame, publicity, and notoriety for the North African campaign, and made all the other ship captains really mad.
That's a smart thing that you carry that.
All right, I wanted to stop here because we got some people in the tour group like this gentleman here that forgot to quit growing when he was younger. So I want you to be very careful. The overhead and the ceiling height can be very low in some places, so please be careful. As a matter of fact, the maximum height you could be to serve aboard the battleship Texas was 6 foot. I went to a reunion one time and met a veteran who was 6'4". I said, "Sir, I thought 6 foot was the maximum height you could be to serve aboard the Texas." He said, "Son, you don't understand. During wartime, if you're breathing, you're the right height."
Yep. Hot.
Okay. Does anybody know what the sailor said on his 80th birthday? Hi, matey.
Oh,
I like
Lord.
that one.
You were about ready to dive overboard, weren't you?
Oh, Lord.
It's all right, you won't be the first one we lost like that. All right. Now we're going to fire this gun. Well, we need your imagination, of course. But you've seen all these movies about huge battleships firing their guns, and it's very dramatic. You see that huge plume of flame, and then a big puff of smoke, and then they show you the next scene where they took out a gun emplacement or knocked some lady out of her SUV. Well, the way these things work, we're going to go back to about 1944, D-Day, all right? Now, we have a German gun emplacement we're trying to take out. I'll tell you what, let's use that utility tower as our target, huh? All right. So we're going to take out this utility tower, and first we have to get the coordinates. We have to get this thing aimed in, sighted in. Now, when you get the thing sighted in, you would hit a red button, bam! But the gun doesn't go off. You have to take all of the information, the preliminary information, the target, And all that information goes down below, a couple of decks down below, into what they call the plot room. And in the plot room, they take all of that targeting information, they extrapolate it, they input it through believe it or not, it's a computer, an old analog style computer. And they have down there in the plot room, they have a map that tells them where this tower is. And after they've extrapolated all this information, they tie this into the ship's gyro, which steadies the gun, because the ship is moving, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And ship will move any way the water's tossing, side to side, end to end, what have you. Well, you don't want to go wasting a whole bunch of Uncle Sam's money on shells and not hit anything. So given all of this information, use of the gyro, usually you hit the red button and you wait. Now inside you've got these men that I was talking about. You have 75 men per turret. Most of them are down below. They're sending up the shells. They're sending up the powder charges. Each powder charge is a little over 100 pounds. You put about 4 of those behind the shell. And then the guys inside, after they got the gun stuffed, and turnaround time on that is anywhere between 45 and 55 seconds. The guys inside this turret have to pin themselves up against the wall, because when the gun goes off, the recoil of the barrel is 4 feet. 4 feet. Now, there's not a lot of clearance inside there. When those barrels come back, they come right in front of the specialist's chest. So he's got to be out of the way. And he doesn't know exactly when the gun's going to go off. All he knows is that it's sighted in, it's ready to be fired. So imagine, they're waiting, and they don't dare move until that gun is going off. Can you imagine that? So, here you have these guys inside. It's sweat time, believe me. Oh, ready? Follow me? All right, I promised not to give you a lot of facts and figures, but I had a couple just because they're interesting. The battleship Texas is 95 feet wide. It was not until after World War II that any ship in the United States Naval Arsenal was permitted to be more than 95 feet wide. Anybody know why? The Panama Canal. When the Texas went through the canal, she had 6-inch clearance on each side. Now she's 573 feet long, which is not real big compared to today's standards, but she's still a good-sized vessel. They demonstrate that if I was to take the Texas and set her up like this, she'd be 3 feet taller than the San Jacinto Monument.
Wow.
Now, do I have anybody here from outside the state of Texas? Where are you from, sir? DC? Well, we'll talk slower. Anybody else? No, I say that because you need to understand the Texas mentality. See, the San Jacinto Monument is an exact duplication of the monument in Washington, D.C. But then again, you are the state of Texas, aren't you? We're not about to let Yankees like this have a monument as big as ours. So we built ours just like theirs and put a star on top just so ours is taller. Now, if you'll notice our flag is a special flag. It has no stripes. As a matter of fact, it only has 48 stars because the Texas is set up the way she was in 1945, and this is before Alaska and Hawaii became part of the Union. This is a very special flag. It's called the Union Jack. And the reason for it was back in the olden days of wooden sailing ships, you could not tell the difference between a military vessel and a merchant vessel. Why? Merchant vessels had to have cannons on board to protect yourselves from pirates. So to specify that you were military, not merchant, you flew the Union Jack. Now, there's very little doubt what the battleship Texas is, but because of tradition, she still continues to fly the Union Jack. Y'all follow us. If you're fighting some third world countries that are not sophisticated, they can still be abused. But you find anybody's got missiles, it'll be good. All right. For those who may not have been with us at the beginning of the tour, let me recap a little bit. The battleship Texas was in 2 world wars, and she was only hit twice. One round hit over here on the port side, about water level, about 30 or 40 feet in front of us. This was at Cherbourg. Cherbourg's located in the northwest corner of Normandy during the D-Day invasion. And what we believed happened was
that this shell was shot short and hit the water and tumbled to the Texas like this. The reason we believe that is because when it punched through the bulkhead, the nose of the shell was straight down and went right through the bulkhead and never exploded. They deactivated, as a matter of fact, on the starboard side in the video room, you can see that very same shell. It's a German 9.5-inch round. It's a black shell about this tall. It has a brass ring at the bottom. That brass ring has angles cut in it. Does anybody know what cut those angles in the brass ring? The rifling inside the barrel did. Now, for those who don't know what rifling is, Dan's going to explain it a little bit later. But for right now, it proves that shell was shot out of a barrel. Now, unfortunately, the other shell did explode. You see what looks like a tall flagpole? Well, about halfway up, look straight back, you'll see flat blue steel and oblong window slots. That's the armored conning tower. 12 inches of solid steel top and sides. At Cherbourg, a German 9.5-inch round arched in, hit the top of that armored conning tower and exploded. The structure immediately above is called the navigation bridge of the helm, where you steer the ship. That's where Chris Christensen was standing steering the ship when he was killed. The one and only sailor ever to die aboard this vessel due to combat in 2 world wars. That's the reason the Texas was known as the luckiest ship in the fleet. Standing 10 feet away from Chris was another sailor by the name of Emil Saul. He goes by Aim. Aim is absolutely just a wonderful individual. He got blown up at Cherbourg. They brought him back to Newport News, Virginia by boat. He was in the hospital for 3 weeks before he ever woke up. He has had 52 major operations. He spent 2.5 years in the hospital. He no longer has any feet. His stub's been inside these special-made boots, and he walks with a cane. He looks like any other 94-year-old man walking a cane, except for one very distinguishing difference. He's got the complexion of a 30-year-old. I said, Aim, how'd you stay so young looking? He said, John, if you had to have as many plastic surgeries done to your face as I had done to mine, you'd look young too. He is such a wonderful... I was going to say he calls the house, but that's not really true. He calls my wife, and he talks to her for an hour, me about 5 minutes, but I am proud of my 5 minutes. I wish he was here to tell this story. He lives in Georgia. This is so funny. Aim had been in the hospital for about 4 months. He is still in a full body cast from his stubs, up his legs, up his torso, up his neck, out both arms. I mean, the man barely can blink, okay? Some Marines came in that had been injured. And when the Marines found out what happened to Aim, they decided that Aim needed a beer. But now, being Marines, they didn't go out and get a beer and bring it back to him. No, 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 no. They stole the man out of the hospital, could barely blink, put him in the back of the Jeep, took him down. Okay, a honky-tonk in Texas is a bar, okay? Took him down to a local honky. Yeah. They took him down to a local honky-tonk, tried to get him in the door, but remember, his arms in cast, and his arms hit the jam and he comes to a halt. So they backed him up, turned him sideways, and shuffled him through, laid him out on 2 tables and brought him a beer with a straw. Aim told me to this day that's the best beer he's ever had in his entire life. I guess it's been, Aim called me about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years ago. And he said, I got a good friend of mine come back on board by the name of Richard Smith. Has not been aboard the Texas in 65 years. He said, would you take him around? Well, absolutely. I mean, I would do anything for Aim. Well, I found out that Richard was in the crow's nest. See that glass up there? That's the crow's nest. It is 124 feet above the water. The only way to get to the crow's nest is you have to climb up outside of that round tripod leg. So at Cherbourg, during the Normandy invasion, Richard's up there as a lookout. He's the youngest sailor up there, so they sent him after coffee. Okay? So he comes, there's no Starbucks, by the way. He comes down, he goes to gallon, and he finds this 2-gallon container. He takes a bowl of sugar and he dumps it in, he takes a bowl of cream and he dumps it in, he fills it up with coffee. Now, how I found a lid in pitch dark, I don't know, but he finds a lid. Now, he's got a 2-gallon coffee container under his arm. He's got to climb 124 feet above the water on the outside of a tripod leg, pitch dark, no lights, in a ship going like this. He said he was more frightened doing that than the first day they hit Normandy. But he makes it. He is so proud of himself. When he passes out the coffee, they all take a big drink and spit it out. You see, in the dark, Richard didn't realize that bowl of sugar was a bowl of salt. Dan, your turn, sir. All righty, we're going to talk about this torpedo over here. This is a torpedo that is not a torpedo. This is what is called a parabate. Now, there were 2 methods by which we kept the ship from blowing up thanks to mines. That was a big problem. They were planting mines all over the place. You didn't just have to be in a harbor. Sometimes you had mines planted in open water. Now, one way to do it, and we still have the system in place on board the Texas, it's
called a degausser, which is a fancy name for an electromagnet. And the polarity on the electromagnet, which surrounds the entire ship at the water level, just inside the hull, is such that when they activate it, it repels mines. Those are the magnetic mines. Okay, well, there's the other kind of mine, and I know you've seen these in movies. The kind that are tethered to the bottom of the bay, the pond, the ocean, whatever. And those are the ones that are tethered with chains. And the way they would do that is they would set these mines so that they were just below the surface of the water. That way navigators couldn't see them, but they were there, and they were designed to hit the hull of any ship that intruded in their space and blow the ship up. So what they would do is when they suspected mine activity, they would take a paravane and they would suspend it over the side of the ship, just below the water and just below the mine. And this hook would come along and it would grab that chain and pull the mine to the surface, and then our sharpshooter gunners would detonate the mines by just shooting. The Texas never had to use the paravane, but they did use the degausser on a number of occasions. Lucky ship. Lucky ship. Okay, we're going to go and play with some guns.
We're waiting on Dan. He's old for me. He's slow. There he goes.
Here I come! Yeah, so funny. I'm only 5'11" and I still have luck. If you look at these cross members here, these are called frames. If you look, each one of them is numbered. And they are numbered from 1 to, I don't know how many frames we have on board the ship, all the way to the stern of the ship. There's a reason for that. I'll tell you about that here in a minute. Wow, this thing is getting easier and easier to use. Okay, first of all, don't touch this. This is stone blue oil. John was talking about the rifling inside a gun. Anybody who's a gun owner, you know what that is. The principle is a lot like a quarterback throwing a football. If you're going to throw an accurate football, if you're going to really want to get your receiver, and you want the receiver to easily catch that ball, what do? You put a spiral on that ball. Let that ball go through the air, spinning. Faster the spin, the better. The more accurate the shot. Same thing when it comes to launching these shells. These are the shells. These are the 5-inchers that went out of this gun. Now, I'm going to, okay, here we go. You can look in here, and if you look down the barrel, look about halfway down that barrel, you can see the rifling. And what that is, it's a spiral that's etched into the inside of the barrel. And what that does is, as that shell flies out of the barrel, it spins and remains on a nice, steady, accurate course. So the shells don't need fins. They don't need a steering system. That spiral does it.
And everyone's unique.
Yeah, and it's an age-old method.
Yep.
Nothing new about it, nothing high-tech. They still use it today.
Well, high tech compared to muskets, maybe.
Now what we do for the kids is we keep one of these shells up here so that you can see the size of it and get some feeling as to the weight of it. Right here, hold on just a second. There you go. And when John was talking about the notches, this is where they would show up. If you picked up one of these shells, that's where you would see it. Along that little brass ring right there, you can see the rifle. There you go. Oh, you know what? You gotta take your picture holding that shell. When you get home, all your friends are gonna think you're really strong. Looks like you're heavy. Yeah, come on, Mom, take a picture.
There you go.
What's a trip to the Battleship Texas without getting some photos, right?
All right, while Dan's securing this hatch, I want to draw your attention to these hooks. These hooks are for slinging hammocks. You see, in World War I, the ship's crew was 800 men. In World War II, when they added all the anti-aircraft weaponry, she went to 1,600 men. We didn't have enough bunks for 1,600 sailors, and they were trying to avoid a very, very nasty thing called hot bunking. So what is hot bunking? Well, hot bunking is this. This sailor's has been asleep. Come 8 o'clock in the morning, it's time for him to get up and go to his duty section, time for me to go to bed. He gets out of his bunk, I get in the same bunk he just got out of. It's called hot bunking. But here's the problem. This is a steamship. Fresh water is a crucially important commodity. First and foremost, it's for propulsion. Secondly, it's for cooking and medical purposes. And lastly, for hygiene. So if we're very, very lucky, they washed our bed linens one time every 3 weeks. If we're very, very, very lucky, we got to shower one time each week. Can you imagine how nasty those bunks would have been when this vessel was in the South Pacific and that heat and humidity?
Yes.
You know, I was telling this, y'all welcome to join us. I was telling this story, had a submariner on a tour, and he goes, sounds like paradise to me. I said, what, sir? He said, son, do you know when they did our bed linens? I said, well, no, sir. He said, every time we came to port. He said, you know when we got to shower? And I said, no, sir. He said, every time we came to port. That's the reason they call submarines pig boats. Okay, now we're about to go below decks. Deck is what we call the floor. And when we get to second deck, you're going to notice a very unusual change. The deck of the floor has now turned red. Now this is an idea the British Navy come up with, and we thought it was such a great idea we copied it. The reason, and the only reason that floor is red, is so our blood blends in with the floor. Well, why would we want to do that? Well, here's the deal. I get injured. This man drags me to sick bay. I don't want this sailor seeing puddles of blood reminding him he could be injured or killed. I need him to focus his job in saving our Texas. That's what the British found out, and that's the reason we stole it, because it's such a good idea.
Is that why the French navies are brown?
Huh?
Is that why the floors in the French Navy are brown?
Don't know, sir. I'm not allowed to tell my French joke. I got in big trouble. But anyway, the history goes back a long ways, and my understanding is during the Revolutionary War, this young lieutenant come into his camp and he said, sir, we've been surrounded by 2 battalions of the Americans. He said, aye, give me my red jacket. Well, of course, this lieutenant did as he's ordered. Well, after the skirmish was over, unfortunately for us, the British won, and the lieutenant goes back to his camp. He said, sir, he said, what's the deal with a red jacket? He said, if I get shot, my blood blends into my jacket. My troops don't see that I'm hurt, and they'll keep fighting for me. It made pretty good sense. 3 weeks later, same lieutenant comes to the same camp and says, sir, we've been surrounded by 5 battalions of the Americans. He said, aye, give me my brown pants.
Yep.
Y'all follow It was over in 45, and then they got around to decommissioner in 48. Okay, we set this room up so you can see how they listed in birth. But now, when you come by and look at this room, remember when it was in service, there would be 21 bunks in the same room. So it's not the palatial suite that we set it up as. And then if you'll follow us, we're going to go forward to the wardroom, and you're going to notice the walls turn green. When you see green walls, it means you're entering into officers' country. And the veterans, although they very seldom come back on board, I always get tickled at them. They may have served aboard this ship for 3 years. The very first place they want me to take them to is officers' country because they've never seen it.
Oh, when they serve. Look at that.
Yeah, and there were 21 berths in there at one point. Wow. Yep.
Yeah, what part of Texas you from anyhow?
Oh, so they served you and they want to see. Oh, this was so good. This is without the ACs too.
Oh. The bell. Wow. Is it a humidor? Yeah, it is.
What is that?
It's a humidor. It's a cigar box. Is it?
Welcome to the boardroom. Now this was very
important room on board the USS Texas because this is where the captain or the admiral would have the visitation from foreign dignitaries, captains from other ships. But when we would put into port, particularly with allied nations, they would usually host a delegation from the country, from the host country. They would bring them here into the wardroom. They would have a huge table set up here, and probably about the fanciest kind of a meal you could expect from the United States Navy. What we have over here are actual silver settings. The one here on the left is from the original battleship Texas, 1895. The silver setting on the other side, over here on the right, is from this ship. This silver setting was given to the battleship Texas by the people of Texas, kind of taking ownership of our ship. A few weeks back, we had some kids from Port Arthur High School. It was really a neat experience because these kids, you would expect high school kids to be all kinds of ADD, right? Just not. These kids were so focused on the history of the ship, what everything on the ship was. They wanted to know what every nook and cranny was. I mean, it was really interesting. So I was explaining to them the two silver settings, and I was talking to the kids about this big bowl at the bottom. I said, I don't know if this bowl has a particular name or not. One of the kids blurted out, call that the Super Bowl. So in honor of Port Arthur High School, from here on out, that is the Super Bowl. And the reason I call attention to it is we have two very important luminaries standing on that bowl. These are people who are very important to us Texans. One is General Sam Houston, and the other is Stephen F. Hostetler. Yeah. And if you look real closely, the likeness is pretty neat. It's like somebody took a 3D photo. Yeah. So there you go. Now the screen at the top of this bowl on the second shelf, I didn't realize what it was until a couple of months ago. We had a lady visiting the ship, and we had people toward the front of the ship, so she and I were just talking. And I told her, I said, I have no idea what that screen is up there. And she says, well, that holds the flowers in place. They put the stems in that screen, and it hooks, and I'm like, sure, why not? So, along with being a guide, you also get to be a student, which is really cool, because you never know who you're going to run into in these groups. And you may find veterans from other countries who can explain things to you.
It's better than what I said. I told it was live lobsters. They put the screen to keep them from jumping out.
That one works too.
Now, if y'all would like to go forward, you can see an officer's stateroom. It's all the way forward on the starboard side.
Since officer's country is at the bow, starboard would be to our right.
Oh, they have people's names on them still.
Yes.
Wow.
You are leaving officer's country there. I think that's
That must be the
Yep.
showers.
McCardle, JJ. It's got a desk, locker, a bunk, sink. Actually, comparative to the way the enlisted would be, this is fairly luxurious.
Yeah. Nice. And they were close to the bathroom too.
Yeah.
That's too cool. Look at those bunks.
Yep. And this was officer's country. So the enlisted didn't come in here.
Wow. Nice. That's way to give everyone room.
Well, yep. Squeeze through here. Pipes.
Officers berthing. This area has 12 staterooms for the ship's wardroom. Officers stateroom with an officer's bedroom and personal office. Senior officers might have this stateroom to themselves, while junior officers typically shared their berthing with one or more of the other officers.
Those stacked bunks there would have been junior grade officers, like what Dad was, a chief petty officer.
So 100 officers would have
Yes.
here.
This would have been, this had Had this ship served in Vietnam and Korea, my dad would have been up here. Oh, here, I want to get the, where did he say? Oh, there we go. Wow. Hey, this is pretty cool.
What was our okay. Right now, she's no, right now, World War II. But then again, this was an old ship, and this is more than what was still used for World War II. After the war, it was scrapped, and a lot of
Yep, that's the wardroom. This area was a lounge for all ship's officers and dining area. Warrant officers and junior officers ate in separate messes in the half deck below. Uh-oh, here we go.
This is the wardroom pantry, okay? See, there was, the food that the officers ate was just like the food the enlisted men ate. By the same cooks, come out of the same pot. The difference is for the officers, the food would be brought up here to the wardroom pantry and they would present it. In other words, they put it on the plate real pretty. The biggest difference is officers got to use spices. Salt, pepper, cumin, or whatever you have, okay? The enlisted men did not. So tonight when you go home and you fix your meal, don't use salt and pepper when you're fixing it. Don't put salt and pepper on when you're done and see what it tastes like. That's what the enlisted men got stuck with. Y'all follow us. Okay, this is the first lieutenant's office. These guys were in charge of damage control due to enemy combat. So let's say they shot us with a 50 caliber gun. We got a hole in our bulkhead like this. What these guys would do is they take a wooden cork and they would pound it in the hole to either stop the leak or at least slow. Oh, you back then? I'll finish this up and you take over. Either stop the leak or at least slow it down until they got out of harm's way and they could make a permanent repair. So we have some corks down there. We're from about this size to about this size. Okay? And like Dan said, where would you rather be? The guy swinging a sledgehammer or the guy holding the cork in a ship going like this? Okay? Now, what do I mean by out of harm's way? We take, for example, at Iwo Jima, the battleship Texas emptied her magazines 3 times. She shot all her bullets at Iwo Jima, went out, resupplied, come back in, shot all her bullets, went out to sea, resupplied, come back in, and shot all her bullets. Well, when she was out to sea resupplied, that would take anywhere from 5 to 6 days. That's when they're out of harm's way, and that's when they would pull these corks and they would weld a piece of steel over the top. Go ahead, Dan, your turn.
All right, you ready to tell about the first lieutenant's office?
Yes, sir, but I don't think the people behind you heard.
Oh, okay, cool. First lieutenant's office. This is kind of a nerve center. Anytime there's damage of any kind to the ship, the information goes through here. Could even be something like when you're out to sea and there's a maintenance item that needs attention. That would go through here. Now, you get a chance to look at all the typewriters in there. It kind of reminds you of the period we're talking about, and they're not electric typewriters either. Once in a while, I get kids, we had some kids earlier today. They actually knew those as typewriters. I was amazed.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. But anytime there was damage to the ship, particularly during combat, the information went through here very quickly because these guys knew where everybody was on board the ship who was capable of taking care of whatever the problem was, whether it was electric, whether it was hydraulic, whether we had a hole in the hull, whatever. And that's when those corks that John was talking about, I call them corks, they're plugs, but we might be able to see them a little later on, but all of that was coordinated through this office. Now this little hatch you see right here, this little hole, that's where the paymaster worked and he paid the sailors. And you notice they do that so that he didn't have to look at you. Even on board a ship, they were class conscious. Oh, the scullery.
Oh, wow, look how small.
Every time we have a group of kids come through here, I tell them, okay, kids, now we're going to go to the scullery. And he goes, yay, we're going to the scullery. And then they realize all it is a room where they wash the dishes. But that's what it was called, scullery. If you look in here, try to imagine being out in the middle of the South Pacific, say June, July, August, and your job is to be in here all day doing nothing but washing dishes. Now, when we only had 800 men on board the ship, it probably wasn't all that bad. But remember, they doubled the size of the crew. So they had 1,600. Oh, man. You know, I'd go in there and I would probably just die. That's probably it. I don't think I can make that. I'm going to do a lot of jobs other than
That's why they enlist 18-year-olds.
There you go. Yeah.
Look at that. Oh,
Yep.
no. All day long in that little place.
Yep.
Look at that. And they have all that looks down the shelves completely.
Yep.
Oh, no.
What is this?
Okay, this is the cafeteria. See, in World War I, the ship's crew was 800 men. In World War II, they had all anti-aircraft weaponry, she went to 1,600. They had to find a more efficient way to feed them. So the galley, when they prepared the food, is right above us. And over at the port side, you'll see a dumbwaiter. They will lower the food down a dumbwaiter. And they listen them to get their trays and go through this line and get their food just like the kids do in school today. But here's the problem. The officers had the workrooms. There was no place aboard this ship for the enlisted men to eat. Now we got some benches and tables in the overhead, hanging from the ceiling but not near enough. Basically, once they got their tray full of food, they looked for some place, any place they could, to sit down and eat. Okay? Now let me draw your attention to those two big barrels up front. Now that was for coffee. It was kind of unique way to make coffee. The coffee comes in this white cloth bag with a wooden bowl. And the nester's job is to stand in front of that boiling water and swish this coffee bag around in the boiling water until the coffee got strong enough to drink. Well, actually, he told me his job was to continue to stir until he could no longer move the stick. Then the Navy said it was strong enough to drink. I thought the tour was going good. I thought everybody was having fun. I didn't want to throw anybody in jail, but I got no choice. They did a very bad thing. Do you know what they did? Huh? What did they do?
They complained about the coffee.
Huh?
They complained about the coffee.
No, sir. No, sir. They did a real bad thing. Hey, you're another one. Sir, you're over there. Man, you're over there. You're over here.
We need you right over there.
Oh, Captain Smith.
Young lady, if you'll come over here. Now I'm being dead serious about what you're about to see. Now Dan's going to show you what happened. My sailors, my good sailors here, this is how you came through the hatch. See how he steps over? Very good. My convicts here, watch how they came through the hatch. They stepped on the
Oh,
hatch.
yeah, you can't do that.
Now I'm being dead serious. Why would you get thrown in jail for something that silly? Look at the thickness of the door. The wall's the same thickness from here to the first lieutenant's office, what you call the armored citadel, the most important functional part of the ship. If you permit 1,600 sailors to step on that every day, pretty soon you're going to wear the steel down. This door will no longer be waterproof. And that's the reason. If you stepped on it and they caught you, they threw you in jail. Now I like y'all. I'll give you one more chance, okay?
They were breaching the water test.
Okay, now you're in the Marine section. This is where the Marines slept. Now, a long, long time ago, Marines were put aboard the ship for one reason and one reason only, and that was to protect the captain from mutiny. Well, shortly, very quickly, their job description changed. Marines, first and foremost, are a landing party. Secondly, the Marines are the police officers aboard this ship. If you get in trouble, they're the ones that throw you in the brig, they're the ones that guard you in the brig. The Marines were also put aboard the ship to protect the captain and his officers on foreign soils. And lastly, when the ship is in combat, the Marines took care of all the aft weaponry. Okay, do I have any Marines here? Oh, good, I'll tell this one. One of my favorite veterans is Rosie. Now, when the veterans come back on board, which is very seldom to do anymore, I love to take them on tours because who better to correct you if you're saying something wrong than the guy actually served aboard the ship. And where's she at? And I did not serve aboard this ship. Where's she at? Oh, she's hiding now. Young lady asked me if I served aboard this ship. Very. I always tell the story about the Marines, and Rosie goes, "That's not true." Oh, I'm excited. He's going to correct me on something I'm saying wrong. He said, "Listen, the only reason we let Marines aboard this ship is so we had somebody dance with them Friday night." Now, every time I've had a Marine in the tour, that Marine has said the very same thing. I want his name and address. Y'all follow me. Okay, how many here have ever heard of the restroom being referred to as the head? Okay. Well, here's how that name came about. Back in the olden days of wooden sailing ships, they used to cut the female figurine into the bow. So if you said you were going to the head, it meant you were going to the head of the female or the front of the ship. It was a direction. Okay? Well, it just so happens that they always put the bathroom at the front of the ship. Why? Their sanitary conditions back then were deplorable. And if you're on a sailing ship, you have the wind blowing from the stern to the bow, filling the sails, and also blowing away those unwanted odors. Okay? So this sailor's going towards the front of the ship, and I said, "Sailor, where are you going?" He says, "I'm going to the head." Now, what he said was he was going to the front of the ship, but everybody knew he was going to the bathroom. So pretty soon the term bathroom and head became synonymous. So that's the reason aboard Navy ship today, regardless of where the bathroom is located, it's always referred to as the head. Now Dan's going to take you in and show you the head for the battleship Texas. And I like to tell people it is the very reason that females do not serve in combat. They're too smart to put up with this. Follow Dan. True that. All right. Lion.
Welcome to the head, which is closer to the tail than it is the head of the ship, but we don't call them that anyhow. Bow and stern. Okay, when you have 1,600 crew members and you're worried about personal hygiene, yeah, it's kind of, what you learn to do is take showers very quickly. So what they did was they had a real quick wet, lather, rinse routine, and it was done like choreography. You would come in over here, and these faucets used to have a chain device, and it was a timed device, and it gave you just enough water to get you wet. Then you went over here, you lathered up, soaked up, and then you went over here and you pulled the chain, and you had another timed blast of water that was designed to rinse you off, almost. Of course, the upshot of that was you had enough soap left on your body that it acted like a cologne. But that's how they did everything here. That's how they had to. There were only 5 of these stations on board the entire ship. One of them is on the other side of this wall and has not been restored. It's still in the same condition it was in when the ship was handed over to the state of Texas. But 5 of these stations to accommodate 1,600 crew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty difficult. And the same applied for people shaving. See, that's what these mirrors are. You put all your shaving gear up here. There's the sink down below. And of course, water, fresh water on a ship is always at a premium. It's hard to get it. Because some of it you got from steam recirculation from the engines. Some of it you got through natural accumulation in water tanks. Some of it you got through other means. There was, for a time, there were desalinization units on board the ship. But it's still, even though the concept seems simple, you never generate enough water to really fully meet their needs. So that was always difficult. So quick showers. Our last stop is over here. self-explanatory, but you gotta see it. You haven't lived until you've seen this. Oh, come on. Where's your sense of heart? Of course, I realize we're not talking about that part of the body, but...
We didn't even get down.
Do you imagine 1,600 crew and only 5 space stations on the entire ship? Wow! But you know, the engineers of this whole operation were pretty sharp. What they did was they set us up with a valve here. You'd open the valve, and it would bring in fresh seawater, and the seawater would run in a constant stream. You know, they're not short of seawater. The earth is covered with it. So they would run the seawater down these troughs in a continuous stream. And it just took care of everything through a natural means. But once in a while, you'd have that joker in the crowd, right? And he's got a friend over here in the stall who's been in there reading Life magazine or whatever, maybe smoking a cigarette, taking his time. And his buddy wants to speed him up a little bit, so what he would do is he would grab a big old roll of toilet paper, just a big wad of toilet paper, and set it on fire with his genuine Zippo lighter and just toss it in. And it would float on the surface of the water right underneath his buddy. That process was called fireboating. And one last thing. I know this looks crude, rude, and when you go home tonight, you are so going to appreciate the level of privacy that you have in your own home. Right? But we had something in here that you don't have at home. Adjustable toilet seats. So there you go. So when your fat old Uncle Charlie shows up, see, all you had to do is just... There you go. This is the end of the official tour, and you are free to roam about the ship. I think they close up at 5 or 5:30, but feel free to wander about the ship. And
that was our first trip to the USS Texas. We had made a second trip later on, not in 2016, but in 2017, when my father-in-law was still alive. We took him on a tour of the USS Texas, and he thoroughly enjoyed it, which was a little unexpected because unlike my dad, my father-in-law didn't have any military experience, let alone Navy experience. But it was a good time. He enjoyed experiencing Texas history and the impact that Texas had on that ship. So it was good seeing the video of Debbie. It was good hearing her voice, and I just hope that those of you that knew and loved Debbie, I really, really hope that this video touches your heart. For those that didn't get a chance to meet her, it's unfortunate. She was a wonderful woman. God created a very precious soul in her. So I do thank God for having her as such a major part of my life for the many years we were together. And yeah, I'm not thrilled that she's gone, but thank you, Lord, for giving me the opportunity to have her in my life when she was here. So, okay, that's it. We got to move on. We've got more videos to process coming up here. I'm not sure how long they're going to take with the van, and I've got a good bit of material to cover. I know these videos aren't short, and I try to keep my videos normally short, but I didn't want to cut this up because I wanted it all to be continuous and to make sense. So I hope you appreciate that. Thanks. Thanks for watching my video. If you like what you saw, please be sure that you click like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and share my video with your friends and family. Please be sure you go back and check out the older videos in the archive. There's some great stuff in there that I'm sure you'll enjoy. And if you'd like to support my work, please be sure to visit us at wildersportoutdoors.com and buy some merch. There's some great stuff there. and it'll go a long ways to help us out. All right, that's it. That's the video for today. Stick with us, and you'll catch the next one. And like I always tell you, get out there, be productive, be safe, but most of all, be blessed.
But here by the